Peace and love. Now seem like a good time to come on and do a quick live stream where I am going to read from an excerpt that a cousin wrote some years ago. I'm not sure where she is with her book, but this is going to be in reference to Wash Carter, which is my 4 times great grandfather. Before before I start reading, I want to share that this is my mother who is. See if I can do this. It's my mother who is highlighted, and this is her father. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and that's he and my grandmother. I want to go ahead and do a little genealogy work really quick at the same time. What I'm doing is I'm going to resize the profile image to show his face a little bit. This is Frank Sanders Jr., born in 31. And it is his father that we're looking at, Frank Sanders Sr., whose father is Jim Sanders, and his mother, Jim Sanders, had 4 wives. But it is his mother, Bernice Wilson, mother. We don't have a picture of her. But we have her mother, who I am looking for. I'm looking for her after 1880. But we're looking at her father, Wash Carter. Wash Carter was born in 1825, according to uh, his census reports. What I'm going to do now is read from the notes that my cousin Thelma wrote on him. And I'll start off at the top. June 30th, 1841, the Carters were in the household of Gilbert Clark, Chief Justice of Red River County, Republic of Texas. They were listed as free indigent children of color. Their mother gave custody to John Robbins of Red River County, Bagwell, and John Robbins deeded them over to Chief Justice Clark for $1,000 to maintain for his own use and benefit during the minority of the same, in exchange for them to be tutored. Their names were Herman, 9 years old, Charlotte, 8, Arilla, 6, and Margaret Carter, 4 years. It is not clear who the mother is. On August 25th, 1847, Robert M. Jones of Choctaw Nation sold other Carter family members to John McDonough of Red River and Lamar County, Republic of Texas. The sale price was $15,000 cash. It stated that they were the highest paid slave deal in the area. The names were as follows. Before I go on, I am going to come back and I'm going to read a newspaper clipping that I found to solidify that claim. This is a newspaper clipping that I keep with Wash Carter's fowl in my tree. There is a little difference. There's some difference, I should say, but it makes sense. I'm just going to start at the top of the last paragraph before the one that will give some solidity to the reading I just stopped at. White men on Sanders Creek had a patent grinding mill and a thresher that he offered to sell cheap, as well as the iron and lumber for an inclined wheel, which was the motive power for many mills and gins in those days. There was some traffic in Negroes during these years, which was soon to be brought to a close by President Lincoln's proclamation. One of the largest transactions in the Lamar County records was the sale by John McDonough to Colonel R.M. Jones of Choctaw Nation at farms at Shawneetown and the Israel Folsom Place in the nation. All equipment, including a gin, work stock, furniture, cattle, hogs, and 56 Negro men, women, and children for $20,000. Jones paid $5,000 cash and gave notes at 1, 2, and 3 years for the balance. So that would explain the $15,000 that is being referred to in that reading here, where the sale price says 15,000 cash. So this would be the Carter family. This would not represent all 56 people who were there, but this would be the Carter family. July, Harriet, Wright, Adeline, Anderson, Millie, Fan, Davis, Dennis, Monroe, James, Minor, Suki, Dave, Bill Carter, Charlotte. I don't know if that should be a comma or how that goes, but Johnston, Wash, Middleton, Emerson, Colonel, Nancy, Lottie, Sam, Bungie, Anna, Sophia, Dick, Nancy, Nipsey, Allie, Lewis, Simon, Bill, Nettie, Tilly, Sonny, and Child, Old Green, Sally, Ambrose, City, Nancy, and Child, Douglas, Mirandy, Julia, Bailey, Loom, Kiz, Isaac, Maria, Dilsey, Philly, Delpha, Old Tubble and Lucy, Old Sarah, Jenny, and Tinny. I'm going to go back and say that this was a sale of other Carter family members, according to this writer, which is my cousin. I don't think this is 56 people. And so I think this is a portion of that sale that I read that I found in a newspaper publication. They were to work the plantation at Shawneetown and Israel Folsom Place along the banks of Red River. The deal was complete November 26, 1847. Wash, born in Missouri Territory, and Nancy Carter, born in Texas, were my maternal great grandparents. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you. Okay, so Wash Carter, who was born in Missouri, and I'm going to go with the 1870 census at this point because it will show you this Wash Carter being born in Missouri. Robinsonville is the name of the post office, but I believe this is going to say Clarksville, maybe. Let's see. Just It just might say just Red River. Sorry about the. Okay, so it does not say Clarksville. It just says Red River. All right. Okay. Some of the names that are listed here, I was able to do in particular Middleton and Colonel, which are a little more unique of names to, and made it a little easier to find. I have not tried to do a genealogy on a genealogy record on each individual that is here yet, but I'm working on that. So I'm going to read on. Okay, Washburn in Missouri Territory, and Nancy, his wife, are Thelma's grandparents. Lizzie Carter, the daughter of Wash and Nancy, married a Morgan, was the youngest daughter. My third great grandmother is her sister, Mary Ann. And in this case, Lizzie, which is the youngest child, Mary Ann was their maybe middle daughter. Lizzie, the youngest, was Thelma's grandmother and also the mother of Versie Dillard, which is her mother. Wash Carter and family were found in the 1870 census later in December, or I should say on December 8th, 1870. Oh, okay. Later in December, on December 8th, 1876, he borrowed money to supply his Somerville plantation in Robinville and supplies and merchandise. Later, it was renamed Bagwell, Texas. So Wash himself um, was found, there was receipts found where he himself borrowed money for his own plantation in Robbinsville. Uh, I do have that, and we'll read that, read some documentation concerning that place at another time. There was no other writing of him. Nancy was found in the 1880 census, but not in the 1900 census. Some of the Carters were listed on the Choctaw rolls of Choctaw Freeman in Durant, Oklahoma, as follows: Alex Carter, Annie Carter, Nancy Carter, Julia Carter, Shed Carter, and Georgia Carter. So I do have references to these and how they are connected to my family. Right now, what I'm going to do is go into we'll look at the 1870 census really quick. So part of my research began with that specific documentation that my cousin had written. And so this is the people who are in the house with Wash Carter in 1870. His wife Nancy, George, Fanny, Carolyn, Ann, Alice, and Alec. There was a Margaret Ann and a Mary Ann, and I think this would be Margaret Ann in 1870. But there's also a John Robbins in the house with them. And I realized that there is a John Robbins that has names in 1850 with him, which is why I saved the 1850 census. And I'm going to just show you some of the names here and then I'm going to end the broadcast, but I just want to begin to show my research for some of the family members that I see being in Indian territory and trying to use some logic to make a decision if, in fact, these people would be African, which I have deduced that that is not the case, that these are the indigenous people who are in that land. So in 1850, I found in the Red River, Texas area, and in 1850, they do not highlight for you. You have to just look and find the names. I find a John Robbins who is 35. The John Robbins that I just showed you in 1870, uh, it says that he is 64. That is 20 years later. This John Robbins would be uh, 55, according to this report. But I just thought it was ironic that there would be a John Robbins in the house with a Wash Carter. Here we have a Wash Carter who's age 6. We have a Charlotte, a Haywood. Then you have here the age of what should be a Carter if you just follow the logic that the first name of Wash Carter written here, and then the people who follow will have the same last name, just like John Robbins and his wife Cynthia and daughter Lucinda, which I have done some genealogy for. All of those people's last name are Robbins in 1850. So I would say that everyone here's last name would be Carter. Why would they not have a name here? This is who I would believe is Wash Carter, my grandfather, my fourth time grandfather. On the next page, you'll see, forgive the scrolling, you'll see Rilla or Ria and Margaret. Remember that on this document, some of the names included Charlotte, Charlotte. Up here in this house, we have a Charlotte, Aurelia, and Margaret. I don't show a Herman in that specific census, but I find it not a coincidence that 3 of the names listed here to be in the house of Gilbert Clark, Chief Justice, would be named on a census report in 1850, around the same age. So I believe that that's them. Peace and love. Carter is a Catawba surname. Peace and love, love legacy. I'm happy to see you here. And many of our people were enslaved by the Choctaw. Okay. Let me put that up just in case this doesn't come over. Love also says, also some Catawba willingly joined the Choctaw, but then were moved from being full members to the freedmen roles. Right. So I think that that where I stand with my Carter lineage being indigenous people is correct. I do find, I'm going to go back over there. I do find peace and love, Pamela. Peace and love to you. Pamela, eyes wide and clear. I like that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to just show a few more files that I've saved regarding this. Okay, so there was a name that was listed on the letter, Middleton and Colonel. Those names are unique names and easier to find. I don't know if there's some order to the names that she listed here, but I imagine that if I could find Middleton, and I did find a Middleton, and the Middleton that I could find was born in 1830. And I imagine that he would probably be a brother to Wash Carter because of the year of birth. He is also born in 1830, according to files that I found on him. So I did not find him on a census, not a United States census anyway. What I want to show you here is his Dawes card. On his Dawes card, his mother's name is Charlotte. Oh, this, I'm sorry, this is not his, but let's open this up because I believe this will have Middleton's name on it. Okay. Not sure why I have it saved as Nancy, but this is Middleton's uh, Chickasaw Freedman card, which was then transferred. If you see here in red, initially they were on the cards with the Chickasaw Freedman, and then they says here transferred to Choctaw Freedman cards. But let's look at this. The residence is Choctaw Nation, that N is for nation, Red River County. The post office is Shawneetown, Indian Territory. I deduced that his age would be, I might have deduced that his age would be, or his date of birth would be around 1830 because he's 68 according to this in 1896. So 68 from 96 puts you around 1830. I think that's more like 28 or something. But it says here that his tribal enrollment is Red River. I don't know that tribe. It says here that he is a slave of Susie Jones, that his mother is Nancy, about age 100. Her tribal enrollment would also be Red River. I haven't heard of Red River Indians. She's also being listed as a slave of Susie Jones. When you flip the page, I'm touching the arrow to flip the page, it will continue to give you information. Following the line of Middleton says his father is Bill Carter, another name that is on that list. Says that he's a tribal member, tribal enrollment of Red River County. Father's owner says he's also an owner of Susie Jones. It also says that Bill Carter's mother is a Nancy Carter. Here it says that the name of Nancy's father, the mother of, could be a little confusing. I'm going to go back and show you. So I'm looking at line 1 and line 2. Line 1 is following the lineage parent line of Middleton. Look here. This is Middleton Carter on line 1. When I flip the page, or I don't know if this is going across a book or something, but when you flip the page, it continues with who his father is, which is saying Bill Carter, saying that Bill Carter's mother is Nancy Carter, whose tribal enrollment is Red River. The second line is in reference to Nancy Carter, the mother of Bill. Okay? Says that her father is unknown, but his tribal enrollment is Alabama, the county of Alabama, I guess. Does not show a father's owner. I'm sorry, I'm talking about, this is Nancy's father we're talking about. Shows that her mother is Charlotte Colbert and that she is already died. She's died. She's deceased. But her tribal enrollment is in the county of Red River. So they don't show a specific tribe, they show a place. I don't know what that means because I've never heard of a tribe called Red River. Let me come back over and see if Love says something here. Chickasaw and Choctaw seem to be basically the same tribe. I've found an Indian census for Choctaw Nation and see people listed as Chickasaw, right? So I did do a little reading about that, some research on that, and found that initially the Chickasaw were going to be their own reservation, and I'm not sure at this moment what I have about what happened, but that then they decided to incorporate them in Choctaw Nation, so that the Chickasaw tribe were were assimilated, or not assimilated, but they were a separate tribe within Choctaw Nation, and that because of fighting, they that they did eventually set up a reservation specifically for the Chickasaw. But I don't know if many of the people who were Chickasaw and had already become part of Choctaw Nation's environment went over. So I have a lot of work to do um, regarding research. I've done some. I have a lot of unsorted paperwork and files that I need to combine to make all of this make more sense. So I'm going to go back to this card. So, of course, I would want to know, who is Susie Jones? Who is Charlotte Colbert? Well, Susie Jones, I'm going to go back to the letter. Okay, so here we are. Let me go back to McDonough. Okay, so here we are. Free indigent, I'm at the top here. The children who were in the household with Gilbert Clark. These are free indigent children of color who mother gave custody of them to John Robbins, who deeded them to Chief Justice Clark to for his use, as I would imagine, to do maybe work, some kind of work, or raise them to do some kind of service, indentured service, basically. So John Robbins, who I believe I see this family with, these are names that are in 1850. These are names that are on the census with a John Robbins. But then looking here, there's a John McDonough who sold members of the Carter family, right? So let's go back That's John McDonough, who sold members. And let's look at that newspaper clipping again. I believe that Middleton is the brother of Wash Carter. Wash Carter is where I have the file saved for that newspaper clipping. That is out of the Paris News, and it was written July 18th, 18, or is that 19? Yeah, 1937. So this is someone who may have been doing some research and wrote about this. Clip from the Paris News. Now let's see. So in this case, we see the name John McDonough. And who does it says here? Okay. It says here, one of the largest transactions in Lamar County records was the sale by John McDonough, which goes right in line with what is written on that document I'm reading from, to Colonel R.M. Jones of Choctaw Nation, of farms at Shawneetown and Israel Folsom's Place in the nation. Okay, so John McDonough sold these people, 56 Negro men and women, to R.M. Jones, right? All right. I did a little research. Susie Jones is the wife of R.M. Jones. Let's prove that. I'm going to do a search. And then I'm really going to wrap it up. I know that his name is Robert McDonald Jones. Okay, I do have him saved because I've been doing research on him. Ronald McDonald Jones. Let's see. This is going to put him, this is a picture that I saved that I'm pulling up. Maybe I have to click here. And let me show you what I found out about Susie Jones, who is listed as the owner of that Carter, various Carter family members. I can show you more cards that will have her listed. So this is Robert M. Jones. Let's see if I can open it up a little. R.M. Jones of the Choctaw Nation. Mr. Jones was a half-breed, etc., etc. Let's see what I found. I'm opening up my file that I began saving for him. He married Susan, and I don't know why she's a Miller. I made a note for me. I don't know if she married a Miller or what happened, but he married a Susan. That's a note that I made. Let's look at her land allotment. Susan was born a Colbert. Remember that Wash Carter's mother is Nancy. Nancy's father is unknown out of Alabama, but his mother is Charlotte Colbert. So this is the jacket for Susan Colbert, who in turn becomes Susan Jones. Sorry, this is too big. Let's see. And she is, in fact, the person that is being referred to as owning Middleton and Middleton's mother. See if we can find something that will say, give a little more. Okay, well, what this will tell you is that Susie is a Chickasaw, according to her jacket, citizen by blood and intermarriage, Chickasaw Nation. We saw that Robert is considered a Choctaw. I believe that my family may have some, I'm just trying to see, this is Choctaw Nation, I believe, Indian Territory, maybe. I don't know what that says over there. But I'm going to just come out and come back over here. Oh, I wasn't even showing anything. I'm sorry, y'all. Comanche, Kiowa, Cheyenne, and Arapaho tribes occupied the Red River prior to the Red River War in 1874. Thank you so much, Love Legacy. So I'm probably going to go back and revisit what I have already and try to see if I can dig a little deeper and find maybe some of the names of the Carter family amongst the tribes of any of these particular tribes that you mentioned here. So far, that information that I've shown today is specifically my Carter family line. I have other family lines out of the same area uh, that I'm in, but um, I think I'll concentrate here on the Carter family line for a little while and see if I could get some solid information about which tribe. So I want to just thank you all for coming through and spending a little time with me. And I'm going to go ahead and close out and say peace and love, and hopefully there'll be a next time soon.